because you always heard about the full moon being something that makes people go crazy. Pregnant women start going into labor. People turn into werewolves. Like there's always something about it.
Right.
And you have to view the moon as something that empties and fills. And it's a cycle, much like we all have our cycles. We breathe in and we breathe out. So we fill in and then we empty. So it reflects in a lot of things in life. And so as the moon is filling up, it's becoming brighter. So that's how you get your full moon. And then it's at full power. So that's why we feel crazy. That's why spells work better. That's why there's rituals dedicated to the moon, because it is a full power moment. And any spell is good during
vibration thing, like the way that we talk about each other's vibrations. Is it same with the moon, and then we're more vibrational?
Yeah, because there's more energy filled. There's more light, I guess you could say, being reflected. There's more of it there. But I mean, but not to say that when there's a new moon, which is when the moon has completely emptied and you almost don't even see it at night, that being a new moon, there's still energy there. There's still energy to be worked with. And it's like the flip side of the coin. Full moons for me were always something that, any spell will work on a full moon, any ritual you need to do, anything that you need to empower. Mm-hmm. The full moon is there to empower because it's full, it's empowered, it's beaming on you. So it charges.
You made me think of one of my other questions. When you're talking about the full moon is there for whatever you want to do. In the past, when I've Googled or looked on YouTube for moon rituals, full moon rituals,
right.
I found it was always in a context of getting rid of something, banishing something, but I also feel like it's a new start. So maybe you could share a little bit about what kind of rituals with the full moon, as far as like a clearing of something, or that kind of thing.
So with the full moon, like I said, I've always used it as empowerment. Banishing works perfect because you have its full power behind you to do whatever magical working you need to do. So when you're banishing something, you're removing something, you're doing some kind of cut and clear work, whether it's a ritual bath to remove these energies from you, whether it is dressing and lighting a candle for a specific ritual to release yourself of things. This is all good to do during the full moon because you have its full power behind you to empower the workings that you are doing. So, and that's why I say, like, if you need a moment of empowerment, if you are about to walk into something, start something, enter into a new beginning, something like that, and you want to empower yourself or empower the situation, a full moon is great for that. And with this full moon in particular, it's a pink supermoon. So the supermoon, in regards, it means the moon in its orbit around us, it's closer than it usually is. So it looks like it's bigger. It looks like it's really in our face. So that's what makes it a supermoon. So because it's closer to us, its energy is getting to us faster, quicker, more of it, that kind of thing. So it's super. The pink moon, it's also known as sprouting moon, egg moon, something about sprouting grass moon. These all are references to the earliest of spring. So spring, new birth, rebirth, growth. It's also so anything with this moon in particular, if you are renewing something, if you are stepping into something new, if you are working to empower some new beginning for yourself, because even though we are all in quarantine and isolation, we can still be crafty and creative and work on ourselves and set goals for ourselves to achieve. So this is a great time for that new beginning energy. Now, it's also in the sign of Libra. Now, I'm not an astrologer by any means. I don't really know a lot about astrology, but with Libra, it's the scales. It's about balance and harmony. So with this pink moon being in Libra, you have balanced and harmonized energies to go into a new beginning, to start something new. One second, I'm sorry, guys. My husband's leaving for the day. He had his mask on. He had his mask on and everything. It was cute. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. So this is a great time for if you've got some new projects, if you have decided to turn over a new leaf, whatever that may be. This is a great moon to enter into that energy, balanced and in harmony, and with like fresh new energy, the energy of spring, of new growth behind you.
Well, let's talk about okay, so whenever there'd be a full moon, I don't know about the rest of you, but I would like do all this like searching online right before it and try and pick something that someone taught me. And I would pull out all the crystals and I'd write down everything I want to do. But what could we do? We're all in self quarantine, we're all at home. Maybe some of us
Right.
have access to a roof, some of us don't. But what can we do specifically when we're enjoying the full moon that night? Like sitting outside with intentions and a candle. Like I,
Yeah.
I tell you guys one
Um,
thing I do, and then Joshua will share his expertise. I always make a jar of water, and I'm in Dublin right now, so the water's pretty clean out of the tap. And I put the water and I put it outside under the moonlight for the next couple nights. And then sometimes I'll even put like a stone or a crystal in that I want to relate to, and this is clear quartz. So I'll stick it in there and then I'll turn it upside down so the moonlight comes through the top of the glass, and then I drink it all week.
that's a way to empower. You can put any object really in the full moon for the simplest of things to do on a full moon. Take your jewelry out, take your crystals out, get a jar of water, get one of those gallon jugs of Arrowhead water or whatever brand you prefer, and put it out in the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Simplest of things you can do is put it in the moon's light. It's going to charge that. It's going to charge that water, charge that object, give it some extra energy, give it some extra blessing, however you want to identify that. So that you can then either take the water and ingest it into yourself so that you are empowering yourself with the moon's energies. You can use that water in any kind of like blessing, water mist, any kind of spray you want to do, mix in some essential oils, use it as a blessing spray, whatever. You can use that water for almost anything as long as you feel it's clean and safe to drink if you're going to ingest it. Putting your jewelry out is a way to help empower your jewelry, like all the crystals and necklaces that I would wear. I would put them out in the full moon that night and then bring them in the next day, and I will have that energy within my jewelry to carry around with me to feel empowered or to add to anything that I'm doing spell work wise or whatever. You want to be careful though with putting crystals in water. Make sure that the crystal that you're putting in the water won't go toxic on you. Things like and you can Google toxic stones for water and it'll pop up a whole list of do not put this in your water. So selenite will dissolve in water, and selenite is a great stone to purify and uplift the energy. It's actually kind of like the sage of the crystal world, and it's also a great crystal that associates with the moon as well, because it's purifying, it's uplifting, it's empowering, that kind of thing. So, but putting it out to charge, make sure it's not going to rain that night either, because you could lose some crystals that dissolve in water. So be aware of that.
What happened to my crystals? Yeah.
Oh no, I've had moonstone, ironically enough, and selenite, along with like howlite and a few others. Those are all like they will disappear in water over time.
I want to hear what you do, Joshua, when you're about to enjoy the full moon, like your ritual, what you go through, like typically.
I like to do ritual baths. I'm a big ritual bath taker. I'll gather some herbs that I want to do. Salt is always a base herb I put in any of my baths because it's cleansing and purifying. So even if you just do a simple salt bath on the full moon, 3 tablespoons of salt into your bathtub, bath water. If you don't have a bathtub, but you want to take a shower, you can take like a jar or wash basin of that said moon water, or whatever other water, and salt, herbs, whatever, and douse it on yourself while you're in the shower to kind of like just wash yourself that way in a cleansing ritual bath during the new moon or during the full moon, excuse me. That's one way to help empower yourself in any kind of you want to connect with spirit, you want to wash away any kind of old residual energies from yourself and step into a new fresh way of being. A simple cleansing bath on the full moon is great to do. If you can sit outside under the moon, whether you are directly under the moon or just being out in its energy, if you have a balcony, a backyard, porch, whatever, and you have that luxury to do that, sit out in the moon. You don't have to light a candle.
Some of us who are trapped inside and we can maybe look out the window at the moon.
Right.
I mean, I don't want us all to feel bad about that, but are there
Right.
ways that we can create another way of enjoying the full moon if we can't see it?
Like I was saying, a ritual bath, ritual shower, light a candle. White candle's great for any color when it comes to candle magic or anything. Use a white candle. But even if it's a little tea light, light a little tea light, light your favorite incense, hop in the shower, hop in the tub, and just sit and be. You can visualize the full moon if that helps. It also helps with your visualization, because visualization is key in any kind of spell work anyway, is that you really want to be able to strongly envision what it is you're putting out there. So focusing on the moon in itself, seeing it in your mind's eye and knowing what that energy feels like, knowing what that moon looks like. And, take some time in the shower, take some time in the tub. Self-care, honey, self-care.
Yeah, speaking of which, I had asked you earlier when we were talking offline about self-care with the moon. For me, it's again putting all those jars out so they cook in the moon over the next few nights.
Right.
What other things do you think is good, especially right now with what we're all going through?
Well,
it's a tough time.
It is, and it's interesting because with us having to go within our own homes and to quarantine ourselves from the outside world, it's making us sit and be alone with ourselves. It's making us sit and, when we can just ourselves with friends and neighbors and going out to eat, going out to drink, going for a jog, whatever, distracting ourselves from ourselves. Now we are forced to look at ourselves, to be with ourselves. And on a global scale, that's what we need to do. Like, we have lost touch with who we are as people because of all of our distractions. We have given over our power to all of these outside things. And during this full moon, during this, pink spring, new beginning, new energy, balanced, harmonized Libra moon, this is time for us to go, no, that's my power and I'm taking it back.
I forgot to ask you, Joshua, if there was any specific, did you cover oils and herbs, specific ones?
No, I just kind of threw it out there. Queen Elizabeth root or orris root is really good for empowerment. If you can get your hands on that, that's great for that. Salt's great for cleansing.
Salt's
and
great,
purifying.
that's stuck at home is going to have some salt.
Yeah, so you could throw salt in there. If you have rosemary, rosemary is really good for almost anything. It's a good substitute for most any herb. Yeah, rosemary is great. Rosemary is really purifying, cleansing, and protective as well.
So just stuff I bought from the store that I put on my spaghetti.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have a charcoal brick, that like a hookah brick that you would like to do hookah stuff on, or if you're somebody who burns loose incense and you burn like dragon's blood resin and frankincense resin and all that, you can throw dried herbs on those charcoal bricks as well. And rosemary is one that you can throw on there and go through your entire home, and it will cleanse and purify and protect. You can throw it in your bath. I would suggest, though, if you are going to use a bunch of different herbs in a bath, if you have a tea bag that you could use or a muslin cloth of some sort to put all the herbs in, you don't want to block up your drainage with herbs getting stuck in there.
That's
so
smart.
Use a tea bag.
Experience? Is that how you know this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the best advice of someone who's had the actual problem.
Salt will dissolve, no problem. The salt's fine. It's the other herbs.
Maybe not you guys, but I've been enjoying some cocktails in quarantine. And I know one of the things that we're not supposed to do when we want to get ready for the full moon is muddy our vibration with drugs or alcohol. But someone wants to drink some bourbon. So do you suggest, like, maybe if we really want to follow that rule, maybe the night before we stop drinking? What's my window?
Well, here's the thing also, let me not forget to mention with the moon, with any of the moons, the full moon or new moon, you have the day before, the day of, and the day after to work magic and ritual to get the full effect of the moon. So you could do you could do all 3 nights, or you can do just one of them depending on how your schedule is, but that's your window.
Yeah.
Now when it comes to like drinking and indulging in other mind altering substances while working with moon energies or magic in general, know your limits for one thing. It would be foolish of me to say that back in the day no one ever did any of this while they were working magic. Some of the most powerful vision or visions that people have gotten, the most powerful influential people have gone into trance states, and they've either used mushrooms or LSD or something to get them into that state. Now that might not be wise for everybody. So just because they did it doesn't mean that you should do it or you could do it, but having a glass of wine, dedicating it to any of the lunar gods, dedicating it to the moon itself, dedicating it to yourself, and having a glass of wine in your ritual, or a glass of bourbon, or taking a shot of tequila, or whatever that may be during your ritual, that's fine. You want to smoke a blunt?
Yeah, if it's like a
Yeah.
clearing thing.
Yeah.
Phil had a question. He said, doesn't alcohol calcify the pineal gland?
There's a lot of things that can calcify the pineal gland.
Yeah.
So there's, I mean, if you want to really go into that type, like, I don't know a lot about the diet to like purify your pineal gland. I mean, that's essentially your third eye. So you want to, be mindful of what you take in.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's going to be your own discretion spiritually. Like the spirits like to drink alcohol. You want to leave spirits to the gods, or spirits. You want to leave alcohol to the gods. You want to leave alcohol out to the ancestors. Like, that's cool. You also want to be aware of that, that deity does, if they don't like alcohol, don't give them alcohol. If you work with the ancestors, and the ancestors don't, your uncle doesn't drink alcohol, don't offer him Jack and Coke as an offering. But I digress. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we intake on a daily basis that can calcify our pineal gland. So it's, if you feel that drinking alcohol is going to affect your spirituality, then don't drink alcohol. Right. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. I went vegan for 6 months, and I didn't drink or do anything. And I was just basically eating fruits and vegetables, either in liquid form or solid form. And when I finally had a cocktail again, I literally felt a buzzing right here as I sipped the vodka. And I remember going, okay, this actually, I'm a believer now that, like, our body tells us, what's happening and what isn't happening. And so
absolutely,
to me, even that shot, I think you're right. Like, just doing it during the ritual moment with the full moon, rather than, a couple hours before I'm supposed to be focusing.
Yeah. Like I think as long as it's incorporated into your ritual, and you're not overindulging and getting, like, there comes a point where it's like, you're not really trying to focus on this. You're just wanting to drink or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything within your own limits, everything within what you feel is appropriate for you to do. Yeah, because it's like a practice is a practice. It's someone's take on spirituality, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
So there are traditions and there are norms that are done a certain way because that's how they're done. But there's always a little bit of wiggle room. There's always a gray area. There's always something that's, particular to a practice that can be interchanged. So,
Joshua, can you talk to us a little bit about how you use candles, more specifically with the full moon? You mentioned
sure. I love working candle magic. So essentially, if there's any kind of need that you need met, whether you're trying to bring in more finance, you're trying to bring in love, you're trying to get yourself to be a better speaker. You know what I mean? Whatever that intention may be behind it, I feel that there's a candle ritual that you could do, especially during the full moon, to help empower that and move that along for you. So depending on your need, you would, here's one of the candles that I make. This is just a blank candle. This has no oils or herbs on it yet. But something like this you could use for empowerment, or this being green and orange. The green is for financial stuff, and the orange is to remove any obstacles. So this is just for this candle in particular. So let's say I wanted to bring some money to me for, in this full moon, I wanted to use the full moon energy. I would take a candle. Mm-hmm. I would carve any kind of symbols, sigils, anything like that I would want into it that would help my practice, like a money, like even just the dollar sign.
I see people drop like pennies in a candle. Is that smart? Or I guess it depends on your intention.
No, you could do that. Yeah, it depends on your intention. Because depending on what you're working using the pennies, because of the copper that's in the pennies, can bring about some change. So yeah, a dollar symbol, as simplest symbol you could think of on this, is something that you could do. You could carve any kind of like words that you want to carve into the candle. Mm-hmm. And then you would take an oil, whether it's just simple olive oil that you have spoke over to empower the olive oil with your intention.
Right. Speaking of that, Joshua, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I did have a question around that. I have two questions actually. The first one is, do you have any specific mantras or things that you say when you're dealing with the candle?
Um, it's
Or do you
always
think it?
it's always what is in particular to the need. So I always, I whether it's working for whether I'm working a candle for someone else or myself, I always get to the root of the intention and what it is that we're wanting to gain, as short and sweet and to the point as I can in verbiage. And
Mhm.
then I will use that because when we speak, we cast spells. So when you are speaking and you are using an empowerment in your speech, you are casting a spell.
Right,
And
right.
so whatever that make up your own mantra, make up your own rhyme, make up your own like 3-word statement, whatever that may be. When there's power behind it and intention behind it, you speak it, it happens.
Mhm, mhm. That's a good point.
so
Yeah.
i so I would speak over my herbs, I would speak over my candle, I would speak over the oils, you know dress the candle with the oil, and then you can either dip it, roll it, or sprinkle the herbs onto it because the oil will help the herbs stick to the candle.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
then ma- and then make sure that it's on a plate that can catch any wax or any fallout. And then
That house down. Right, right.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah,
have a
yeah.
question about
It-
candles. When we're
yeah.
dealing with a full moon, a new beginning, or a change, someone who wants to declutter their home, are there certain candle colors or choices of candle that would help with making that transition and, saying goodbye to clutter?
Oh,
In your
white
opinion,
candles. Like I say, always white candles are good to go to for
white.
anything because white covers everything.
Purifies.
Say that again.
Because white purifies, and that would be a good
It's
decluttering.
it purifies, so it removes anything that isn't to be there.
Mhm.
But in color magic, you have blue and green and orange and yellow and what all that. Let's say you don't have a particular color that you want to work with, you can always go to white candles because white
Let me
candle can
ask
be
you this, and it's not really a moon question, but since we're there, with the colors of candles, you said green was money, white's purity. Do you find that most of the time the colors of the candle goes with the colors of chakras and what those chakras mean, or is it different?
well, the heart chakra is green. So the other thing about the green candle is that green money isn't green in every country. So
Mm,
using a green candle for money in America is great, or any other country that would use that as green currency. But you could also use green for growth. So
mm.
it could be used during a full moon when you're working on growing something, growing yourself, growing your spirit, growing a business, whatever that may be. You could use green for that because it represents growth as well.
Yeah, so really it depends on you and your intention, what falls behind
Mm-hmm.
it. So if someone wants to declutter their home,
Yeah,
which candle speaks to them and why?
yeah, and I mean, orange would be good for
Mm,
decluttering because orange, I like to use orange for removing obstacles. So if you're doing like a road opener situation, you would use an orange candle, or I would use an orange
Ganesh,
candle.
the elephant, right? He's all about that.
Oh, Ganesh, yes, Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. He is also Lord Vinayaka. I think
Mhm.
that's how you say it. He is the Lord of problems and their solutions.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, you can petition him to help remove all this out of your way. But yeah, a white candle, orange candle to help kind of declutter and move things out energetically.
Mm.
A black candle if you are banishing some, like you just removed a roommate that was problematic, or you just had a breakup or something like that, and you are like cleaning their space out. You could
Ah,
use a black candle or a white candle for that to help move that energy out and declutter any of that and clear the space so that when
also with sage, that makes me think of the question when you're about to do all of this, are you like I always walk around in sage rooms when I'm doing my weekly deep cleaning.
that's
And
great.
is that good
um
for, I'm sorry guys, I'm going off of moon. Sorry about that, but uh, I'm gonna sage
well,
during the full moon. So, you know.
here's the thing about sage, because I mean, on a full moon you may want to do a on yourself and within your space. So this is totally appropriate when you
Mm,
think about it.
mm.
So using sage, some people say, "Oh no, don't use sage. That's bad," or that's appropriative or something. Um, Trust your intuition on that. I've worked with sage a lot. At one point, it was the only thing I knew that would cleanse.
Right.
Um, but as I began to understand more herbs and different ceremonies and different cultures, there's other types of sage too. So Don't use white sage if you have a problem with the ceremonial aspect of white sage. Common sage that you get at the that you get at the grocery store that you would cook with. Buy that, dry that. Even like at the dollar store, I have found big old bottles of ground dried sage.
Okay.
You can throw that on a charcoal brick or dry your own bundle of common sage and burn that to clear the energy. But the thing about sage is that it's like using soap and water on your hands, and it removes all the dirt, all the oils.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, so using sage is definitely appropriate for a deep cleaning. But like I said, things like you could use dragon's blood resin. That's great for purification and exorcism. Rosemary is great to burn. I mean, even if you have a rosemary bush outside, break off a branch, hang it upside down, let it dry, and then light that on fire. Now it's going to pop and sizzle because it's rosemary. So
but
be
if
careful.
they can't go out and they have a rosemary shaker for cooking, how would they utilize that? Oh yes, we got the Red Wizard Wears products back there. I wanted to talk to you about that.
So yeah, this is just common cooking rosemary. If you have, these are charcoal bricks. Light these up, light one of these up, let it pop, sizzle, and crackle
kind of the
until it's done.
That kind?
Huh? No, for hookah.
Barbecue?
Hookah.
Oh, hookah. Got it.
Hookah charcoal bricks, because they usually come with like a little divot on the inside too. So it's going to burn, pop, sizzle, crackle, all that jazz. And then once it's glowing, then you would take your dried herb or your resin and sprinkle it on top of the charcoal brick, and the heat is going to cause it to burn and do its thing. And then you, like if you have a cauldron or some other heat-proof container, you can go, just don't burn yourself, okay? Be very careful. Be mindful of what is heat-proof and what isn't. So it always helps to put a little bit of sand or dirt from a pot inside of like a shell or something before you put the charcoal on top of it. But there are tons of YouTubes on video on how to work with charcoal brick, or you can reach out to me directly and I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
And you know, just throw that herb on there and cleanse with rosemary or whatever else you got, and go through your space. And if you want to sing, if you want to dance, if you want to, you know, speak a psalm or whatever you want to speak into your space as you were going around cleansing it on the full moon, you have the power of the full moon to help you cleanse your space. So yeah.
My friend just asked me on the chat, you know, if things are going really great, should you really run around the house saging? My thought is, if you really love cleaning like I do once a week, it's just a nice little cleaning. But also, if your energy is going really good, maybe don't mess with it. Thoughts?
Yeah. Well, what you could do is still take a good look at your space. You know, maybe it might not need a deep spiritual cleanse, but it may need to declutter somewhere, or you may need to dust something, or you may need to move a piece of furniture, or maybe look at your closet and rearrange your closet. Like, move some energy. Like, just because things are going well and flowing doesn't mean you just, you know, leaving things alone is good for a while, but sometimes you might need to come in and, okay, well, this is kind of stagnant feeling. Let me just move this around. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to cleanse and remove anything. You might just need to move some stuff and maybe light something like jasmine or frankincense, myrrh. What else could you burn? I mean, you could burn rosemary too, again. To bless your space, to keep the energy burning hot, to keep the energy hot. Burn cedar wood. Cedar wood is great for raising the vibration and bringing about prosperity. So if you have cedar wood, whether that's like an essential oil or, where's my jar?
Joshua also does rune and oracle card readings.
Yes.
So that's something that you might find interesting. He's just a plethora of knowledge, and I just felt like the full moon on April 8th was a good thing for us to focus on our first little chat, but we'll come back and do more. And
yes.
I really appreciate you, Joshua. Do you have anything else you want to share?
I'm glad everybody came. Thank you so much. I was looking for my cedar wood. It's just, now I found it. I have to show you now that I went through all that to find it. So, but cedar wood's really great to burn because it's prosperous and it raises the vibrations. So, but no, thank you all for coming and checking this out. Thank you all for listening to me. I hope that this has been very beneficial for you. I hope that this sheds some light on some things. Do please reach out to me if you have any questions, if you want to connect. I know right now it's a trying time. Some of us are doing real well in chaos. Some of us are not. So I'm here for you. So reach out, please. Definitely, Hudsy, thank you for putting this together. This has been
Oh, I
awesome.
think you're amazing. I always have, and we know each other in other lives, I think. But again, if you want to reach Joshua, if you don't know him personally, his Instagram is Joshua_Bloodfire, and his Venmo, if you're feeling like you want to send him anything, just for his time, is at Red Wizard Wears. He also designs products, so when we can all be in the same room again, you might want to hit him up for that.
I make candles, I make bath salts, I make aura mists, I do specialty candles
Oh,
for
and
you.
your spell work. Share that real
Yes.
quick.
I can either do some candle spell work for you. We can discuss that on a consultation, or if you want something more hands-on, in depth, we can take some time to sit down via video, and I can walk you through the spell work process. Like if you need certain items, I can tell you what to get, and then once you get them, we can sit down via this, and I can walk you through what you need to do so that you now have the knowledge to work a spell yourself, if that's something you want. Some people are just like, "No, do it for me, I'm fine."
Joshua, let's do this again. Thank you all for
Yes.
coming. Remind everybody your contact info one more time.
Okay, Joshua_Bloodfire. That's on Instagram, and you can definitely reach out to me for any of my other stuff. You can look up Joshua Bloodfire on Facebook, and you can find me there too. But Instagram is where you want to get me.